You ever feel stuck? Like, actually feel like your wheels are spinning, but you're getting nowhere. Like you're actually moving, but you're not making any progress. Well, if anybody understands what it feels like to be stuck, it's me. And in this video, I'm going to teach you not only how to go from stuck to unstuck, but how to go from unstuck to unstoppable. And you don't need to spend any more money. You don't need to do anything that's going to add things to your plate. And I'm going to break this down so easy that even a fifth grader could do it. What's up, y'all? This is the Perspective Pause, weekly live stream, 10 a.m. Eastern, where we slow down to speed up. Listen, you probably have nothing wrong with your life. You just have probably something wrong with your lens. So I always like to say you don't need a new life. You need a new lens. And in this video, I promise you, you're probably looking at things right now that are in your life the wrong way. You're probably seeing things in a way that it just doesn't seem possible. Or maybe we're actually looking at our progress with the wrong lens. So what I'm going to teach you guys today is 3 different ways to actually get unstuck and become unstoppable. So the first thing is this. Let's get into it. Before we even get started, I want to tell you, make sure you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you click the bell for any notifications. That way you can actually be here when we add more value to the channel. So good morning to anybody that's watching this on the live stream. And if you are catching this on the replay, you're going to also get a ton of value, I promise. So here's what we need to do. Number 1, I want to break down ABCs. We're going to talk about letters. We're going to talk about shapes. And we're going to talk about numbers today. And I promise you, you're going to take away something today and look at things that you've commonly seen, but you're going to start to look at them in a new light. So let's start with ABCs, right? So ABCs, a lot of people feel like when we look at A, B, C's, we think about the alphabet, right? But the reason why I use things like letters, numbers, shapes, and is because I want you to remember exactly the massive impact that could be created while you're actually going through your day-to-day activities. So think about when you were a child, right? When you were a child, what was the first things that you learned in school? One of the first things that you learned in school was your ABCs, right? And some of you guys knew it way before you even got to school. Maybe 3 years old, 4 years old, you were singing it at 2, who knows, right? But when you got to elementary school, you were already pre-programmed what something was. And what that pre-program was your ABCs, the alphabet, and so forth. But what did A stand for? A stood for apple, right? B could have stood for anything, and C, whatever. We're not going to get into it, but A stood for apple. But in the purpose of this video, I want you to remember this, because too many times do we have this backwards when we're feeling stuck in life. We think that we need to read another book. We think that we need to find more information. We think that there's something that we don't have that's actually missing in our life that will cause us to feel why we're stuck. But there isn't anything missing. The only thing that's missing is our attention on the right thing. So I know friends right now. I have other acquaintances and people that are in business that they will do everything it takes to make sure that every step they take is calculated. And if there's one thing, there's a few guarantees in life, right? They say death and taxes, but there's also a third thing that's guaranteed. And it means that not everything is going to work as planned. The plan is not going to work as planned. And that is guaranteed, right? You're not going to be prepared for every obstacle that comes in your way in life. Some of the things that you have to figure out in life are only going to be able to be figured out while doing the activity. So when people think about A, B, C, the problem is they're thinking C, B, A. How is that? Because most people, before I even tell you what this is, before you actually even see this, most people are actually, where's my eraser here? Most people got this backwards, right? Let me show you. They are doing C, B, A. Why? Because they're focused on clarity brings action. And in all reality, when you really think about things, right, it's not going to be clarity brings action. It's going to be the complete opposite. It's going to be action brings clarity. So in order for us to be clear on something, action has to happen. We have to move forward. And I'm not too sure if you've ever been in a situation to where it seems like if I take the next step, I want to know exactly what's going to happen. And I said this in one of the previous videos that a lot of people, when they say they lack faith, they just are really not lacking faith. They're focused on certainty, right? And that the opposite of faith is not fear. The opposite of faith is certainty, right? And so when you think about this, it means that I want to know exactly what's going to happen when I do something. And then when I think about doing something when I don't know what's going to happen, usually I'll think about the worst case scenario that never happens. I don't know if you're following me on this, but instead of us focusing on clarity bringing action, action brings clarity. Because at the end of the day, you can plan for just about anything. But the one thing you can't plan for is what's not going to go as planned. And like I was just saying, the 3 guarantees in life are death, taxes, and that the plan is not going to go as planned. So you can figure out everything you need to figure out as far as taking the first step, but you're not going to know what to do on the second step or the third step until you take the first one. Now, there are some moments that you're planning for things in the future and you're saying, hey, I have a clear vision, because without a vision, you're not going anywhere. Right? If you don't know where you're going, then you don't even know where you are. Because if you don't have a finish line of where you want to go, then you're not even at a starting line. So when we think about the 2 things before we take action, we must think about gratitude and we must think about vision. Because if we're not grateful for the things that are in our life, then we're not going to achieve something later that we're going to automatically be grateful for. Like if you're not happy when you have $50, you're not going to be happy when you have $500,000. I've seen the person that's unhappy with $1 million in their pocket. Well, they were unhappy when they didn't have anything, and they felt like what they achieved would bring happiness. But here's the thing. The action is going to bring clarity on the next step that you can plan for taking the next step. I like to say, if you want to win with the best of them, you must take the next step and let God help you with the rest of them. And if God put it on your heart, then God's going to play a part, but you got to start. Let me say that again. If God put it on your heart, then God's going to play a part, but you got to start. Gratitude and vision. Clarity doesn't bring action. It does it so forth as you know where you're going. But clarity is something that's giving you a clear path. Not to the finish line, to the next step. See, God gives us a vision in our mind, but he doesn't give us all of the steps on what's going to happen along the way. Like if we were to say, hey, God, I want to achieve this, so give me exactly every single step it's going to take to achieve that. If he gave us every single step, we wouldn't actually follow the plan, because there's so much pain. There's so much discomfort. There's so many moments that are just so many failures, right? And we definitely need to reframe our failures, but there's so many failures that in the plan, if we were given the plan to fail that many times, then we probably wouldn't go through with it. I don't know. That's just me thinking about it, right? If I know that I wouldn't be where I am if I knew I had to go through all I went through to get where I am today. Because there were way too many moments where I thought that everything was over. There was way too many times where I was completely stuck. I was stuck like Chuck in the back of a pickup truck. Man, I was stuck, right? And you know what's crazy is that as I was stuck, all I kept doing was looking for something new. I kept looking externally for something that I can do. I was looking for something new. I was looking for something that I can do that would actually bring success to me. When it was something I needed to do. It was something I needed to do, which was look inside. Because I have a simple framework. of saying that a lot of people say it starts with you, it starts with me, but they don't actually say what does you and what does me stand for. So when I think about the word me, I think about two things. It's literally a framework for success in life. The M stands for mindset, the E stands for environment. It all starts with me. When you wake up in the morning, every single morning, you look in the mirror and say, where I want to be starts with me. And the me stands for mindset and environment. If you could control those two things, you could achieve anything. You could achieve anything. Now, I will always say, like I was telling my daughter the other day, is that you may not be able to do everything, but you could do anything. You could do anything, but you can't do everything. And we're going to get into that in the end of this video here. But in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to get unstuck out of any situation without purchasing anything, without adding anything onto your plate. And we're going to keep this thing going. So the first thing is action, right? Action brings clarity. Without any action, nothing's going to happen. You can't talk your way into a new life. Well, words matter, right? But faith without works is dead. So it's all about faith and action. And you can't replace laziness with prayer. Let me say that. Hold on. Let me come back here. Let me come back here. I said that faith without works is dead. I didn't make that up. That came out of the Bible. So, I mean, I'm going to believe what it says in that book. But I will also tell you that you can't replace laziness with prayer. You cannot replace laziness with prayer. So think about that. The action is going to bring you clarity, but you must focus on me first, which is your mindset and your environment, which brings me to my second thing, which is environment, right? When you think about environment, what do you think about? You think about like I actually have a couple of notes for this one because I want to draw something cool. When you think about environment, what do you think about? To me, I think about shapes and circles. And I go back to like elementary school and I start thinking about shapes and circles and triangles and rectangles. I start thinking about all of these different types of shapes. And that's how I kind of like in my mind view different environments and different people, right? And too many of us are circles trying to live in a square world. What are you talking about, Chesco? What do you mean? I mean this. Like before you can actually just change things, you have to change where you are sometimes. Sometimes you have to leave your current environment in order for you to see things a little bit differently. And I like to say things like check your circle, audit your circle, because sometimes we're actually, think about it like this, right? Do you really build momentum with squares? Right? Come on now. Can't replace laziness with prayer. I see you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Listen, it's the truth, right? We cannot replace laziness with prayer. We must take action. And who we're taking action with will determine probably how far we're going to roll. I mean, and when you think about rolling and you think about moving and you think about building momentum, you got to be with some circles. You got to be with some circles. You can't be with some squares, right? And too many of us are trying to shave down our circle to fit in a square hole. But here's the reality. Is that if the people, and I think Stephen Covey said it a long time ago, is that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time around. And those 5 people in that circle, if they're not inspiring you, encouraging you, trimming you, celebrating you, holding you accountable, then you're not in a circle. You're literally in a cage. And what shape is a cage? It's a square. That thing's not rolling. That thing's not rolling. So a lot of the reason why our environment is holding us back is because we're not hanging with circles, we're hanging with squares. And in order to hang out with the right circle, you got to check your own circle, because what you tune into is what you turn into. What you tune into is what you turn into, right? I like to say like your news feed, right? Because if you are what you eat, right? You are what you feed yourself. So what are you feeding yourself? Like that's why they call it a news feed on social media. It's literally food that you're feeding your mind, and you're becoming a consumer to everybody else's marketing campaigns. People want you to think a certain way so they can control you. And I think a lot of the time we're so stuck is because we're so focused on what other people are doing, but those other people are squares. Because think about it like this, right? When you really look at it like shapes, right? We're all different. We're all different. And what's wild is like me personally, right? When I was growing up, I felt invisible. And how did I become invisible, right? Well, I became invisible because I was trying to become somebody else, right? I was seeing what everybody else was doing when they were able to get attention, when they were actually in a position where they saw how, like in a position where I saw where other people were actually getting just recognized and noticed for some of the things that they did. I wanted that feeling. I felt like nobody saw me because of certain things that happened in my childhood. I felt like nobody saw me. So I did the things that it took for people to see me. And it may have been a negative thing. Like whether it was as a child, getting arrested at a young age, hanging in certain environments that I had no business hanging around in. I realized that there was a lot of times when I was looking for validation. I felt good when I was actually like recognized, but I only felt good when I was recognized. And what was interesting about that is that I did everything I could to eliminate anything that was different about me so I can fit in with everybody else that looked exactly the same. And what ended up happening is I did fit in with everybody else and I became invisible. Then the level of creativity, then all of the things that made me different, all of those things I didn't champion. I tried to overcorrect. And see, there's a difference in life between correcting something and overcorrecting something. When we're stuck, sometimes we're trying to make a change that's so drastic that we can overcorrect something. Like, I don't know if y'all are mechanics, any mechanics watching right now, but if you're a mechanic, right, and you're working on a car, let's just say something simple that you can understand. So if you're changing a tire on a car, right, and you have these lug nuts, right, you have 4, you have 5, cars are different, right? But if you were to change the lug nut, right, and you tightened it up, it would actually fix the fact that that wheel is going to stay on, right? But if you overcorrected it, you may strip it and never be able to get it off. So a lot of us, when we're stuck, we're trying to overcorrect something because we're trying to eliminate everything that we are to be just like somebody else. And if you do that to try to stand out, you're actually going to become invisible even more because you'll be just like everything and everybody else, which it seems like everybody's in a race to just be confused these days. And most people are following trends trying to stand out. I mean, make it make sense, right? You see everybody on social media following trends, but trying to stand out or stick out while they're following trends. Crazy to me, right? Because you're not going to stick out by being exactly like somebody else. But that's what I did when I was younger. And it took a long time for me to realize that, man, this person's doing something a certain way. So let me go ahead and do that. Because I did not believe in myself enough. I did not believe that being different was actually cool. I thought that being the same was cool. I thought fitting in with other people was cool. So I did everything I could to fit in with other people, and I finally fit in, and I became invisible. Now, when you're thinking about your environment, it's so powerful because the thing is this. Like somebody asked me earlier this morning, they go, I was actually prepping for this video, and they asked me and they said, what happens if you don't have the right people in your environment? How do you create a better environment? And I said that you have to know where you want to go and you have to know what you want to achieve, right? And it can be simple. You could say, hey, I just want to be better at X, right? And whatever X is, you find somebody that's doing phenomenal at X, and then you go ahead and you pick their brain. Now, here's the deal. We live in a society now where people will say, before you pick my brain, pick a payment method, because everybody's focused on money. I mean, it seems like success is money. And the problem is a lot of us are stuck because we don't even know what success is for us. We allow somebody else to dictate or determine what success is for us. So then we get into a place where we feel like we're not where somebody else is, so we're not successful. But success to them is completely different for us. It might be being a better father to me. Like my daughters are teenagers right now. And ultimately, if something were to happen to me, the only legacy that I would want is to know that I was somebody that showed them love and care and made sure that I was there, right? But other people may say, you know what, my goal is to make $1 million in a day. And I've seen those people, right? I've seen those people. I've seen the people that have made $1 million in a day. Heck, I've helped them. I built systems on the back end. I've coached them with their sales techniques to do those types of things to help those people. And that was success to them. They achieved success. They were happy. My success was helping them at the time. I didn't look at how much money they made and said, oh man, they made $1 million in a day and I only made $27,000 or whatever the case was, right? Over this period of time helping them. Man, I didn't get paid enough. No, I labeled what success was to me. I went ahead and I took action. Clarity came. And then I found myself in a situation where I was able to celebrate myself for the success I had. But too many of us are focused on how much money somebody made. And if they made that amount of money and we don't make that amount of money, then we're not worthy of anything. When in all reality, money is not just, trust me, whatever you came into this world naked. You're going to leave naked. Now, in the Bible, it says that a good man will leave an inheritance to his children's children, but that doesn't just mean tangible money. That means intellectual information. That means no generational trauma. Because what's the point of being a parent, leaving your kids a bunch of money if you gave them generational trauma by telling them how trash they were or telling them you don't want to give them any attention so they felt invisible? So success to you is just leaving them a bag of money. It's not what we leave to people, it's what we leave in them. That's my opinion, though. Right? That's my opinion on what I believe success is for me in this season. So don't think about success for the rest of your life. Think about success for this season. Let me slow down. I think I'm talking a little bit too fast. Think about success in this season. The reason why we're stuck is because we're trying to think that we can plan our whole life in the next 5 minutes. And if we didn't go ahead and achieve these massive milestones, then we're not getting anywhere. Well, the problem is you're not celebrating your wins. You know, I used to do something before this called Wednesday. And I said, every day is Wednesday. If you woke up, you're winning. Wednesday, Winsday. And today is Wednesday. Every day is Wednesday. And it's like, the problem is that if you're not waking up celebrating the things that you did yesterday, you're going to have a hard time thinking that you're anywhere. You won't believe that you're actually making any progress until you actually give your attention to focus on the progress. You may not be exactly where you want to be, but thank God you're not where you were. You may not be exactly where you want to be, but how far have you come? What all have you done? Even the mistakes showed that you took action because you got through it and kept going. And everything that we learned through was the things that we were able to realize that we're still here. So a lot of the problem, while we don't feel successful, is because we're not successful until. Like ask yourself that question right now. Do you ever find yourself in a situation where you're like, I'll be successful when I reach this place or I accomplish this goal? Because there's things in your life right now that you said that I would be happy when I achieved that, but you're not happy. There are things in your life right now you said, when I actually accomplish that goal, that's going to make me happy, but you're not happy. And it's not to pick on you, but it's to say this: stop tying your happiness to a goal. Happiness is a decision and a choice that you make with the things that are already in your hand. Why is it so difficult to be grateful for what we have? Because people are pushing all of the things that they have in front of our face. And we're choosing, not they're making us feel small, they're making us feel. Get that out of that's a victim mindset. If you constantly say things like they are making me feel anxious or they are making me feel like I'm nowhere, you are choosing your thoughts. You are choosing your thoughts, and your thoughts are choosing those feelings. So as we break this down today and we talk about how to get unstuck, the reason why you're stuck, you don't know what success is. You're not focused on the me framework. You're not focused on checking your circle. And when you do check your circle, you start to realize something really important, is that in order to be successful, you got to start asking better questions. You got to start asking better questions. Man, I wish I could remember what I heard the other day, that Jesus actually, he asked hundreds of questions and only answered a couple of them. I think it was like Jesus asked 300 questions or something like that, but only answered a couple of them. You know, what's really interesting is that, like, it makes me think, what then does success look like, right? How do you achieve success? How do you get unstuck? You ask questions. You ask questions. You ask questions. You start finding people to ask questions to. But here's the problem. A lot of us are asking the right questions to the wrong people. Because you go from learning how to ask questions to then saying, I need to ask better questions so I get better answers. And those questions are usually to yourself too, right? You want to ask yourself better questions. Why am I here? What habits did I have in place over the last year that got me here, right? Because where we are is not based on what we did today. It's based on what we did last week, last month, last year, right? So anywhere that you want to go, you can reverse engineer and see what got you here. You can almost like, go back and see the map on how you got to this point, right? And the reason I'm saying this is extremely important. Stick with me. Don't go anywhere. It's because when you ask the right questions, you get better answers, right? And when you ask the right questions, you get the right answers. But the problem is this: a lot of us are asking them to the wrong people. You could work on yourself tremendously, but if you go back to the same circle of people that aren't working on themselves, you could ask the right questions to the right people, but you still get the wrong answers because you're asking them to the wrong people. You could ask the right questions to the right people and get the right answers. But even if you're asking the right questions, if you ask them to the wrong people, you'll never get the right answers. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. If you ask the right questions, although they're the right questions, to the wrong people, you're always going to get the wrong answers, even if they're the right questions. So you could be stuck in your life right now and know exactly how to get out of your situation, but it's all because of who you're communicating with during the season that you're in. Who do you go to? Who do you go to? Like, ask yourself, who do you go to for different things, right? I have different friends for different things. The same person that teaches me about money is not the same person that teaches me about how to get fit. The same person that teaches me how to become a better parent is not the same person that teaches me about my retirement. The same person that teaches me about YouTube is not the same person that's going to teach me about communication skills. The same person that teaches me, you get the point. You get the point, right? You have different people in your life for different things. And until you decide to check that circle, it doesn't matter how far you grow. You won't go anywhere if you keep planting all that growth in the wrong. If you replant, you have to replant. It's nothing wrong with you. It's the soil. Like you've all heard that analogy, right? It's like you haven't been. What is it? You're planted, right? You haven't been. This is live, y'all. This is what it is. You're not buried, you've been planted. You're not buried, you've been planted. You're not buried, you've been planted. And the key to that is not the fact that life isn't over, you've been planted for more. Think about you're not buried, you're planted in a way that tells you, where am I planted? Because where are you being planted may even be more important than the fact that you're even knowing that you're planted. Where are you planted? Now, you want to stay planted when you get in the right environment, because you want to make sure that you're staying planted long enough so when you come out, you're strong enough. Come on now. You want to stay planted in the right environment long enough so when you get ready to do what you got to do, you're actually strong enough. So you wouldn't ask somebody that's overweight how to get in shape, right? But I'll make another video for another time of going even deeper into that, because I think it's really important to know that some of the people that maybe are in shape maybe have done some things to get in shape where they cheated the system a little bit. Same with money. I know some people that are really successful when it comes to entrepreneurship, and that are some business owners that have done things the wrong way. And what is a man to gain everything of this world but lose his soul in the process? There's Matthew, I think, right? Said that. Last thing, let's get into it, y'all. Let's get back to the drawing board. For real, back to the drawing board. So I want to tell you this, right? Here's some math that they don't teach you in school. Your life plus less equals more. That's probably the equation that you needed to see today. So we talked about letters. We talked about shapes. Now let's get into some math. Let's get into the numbers, right? Because here's the thing. Your life plus less equals more. Let me come off here really quick. Look you in the eyes really fast. The greatest way to add value to your life is to subtract from it. I'll say that one last time. The greatest way to add value to your life is to subtract from it. All right, back to the drawing board. Think about it like this. Here, I said this earlier, but I'm going to put this here so you can see this. You can do anything but you, let's just get the spell right. But you can't do everything. Yeah, that's it right there. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. And the problem with us, the reason why we're stuck is because we're overly distracted at all of the things that are happening in our life. And we feel like we're actually going to achieve more if we do more. But let me tell you this, doing more of the thing that's not working in your life isn't going to automatically start making things happen in your life. Doing more of the things that are not working are not going to automatically just start working. Yeah. Hopefully you caught that. If not, you can catch that on the ride home. But you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And the problem with us as human beings is that we see somebody doing something that brings success to them, that they went from unstuck to stuck to unstoppable in their life. That what was crazy is that we think that now following what they've done is the only way to run. But it's not. I mean, it's only what success was to them. What is success to you? What is success to you? Let me do one more drawing here for you guys. So think about it like this, right? You got a person here. All right. I'm gonna give him a little hat. I'm gonna make it like me. That's me. So if this person is, let's just say he's juggling some balls here, right? This is how I used to live my life. Some of you guys are living this right now. All right, so we got 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's do one more down here. All right. And a lot of y'all living this way right now. Is that you got all these different balls, right? You got, let's say you got, I don't know, you got your job, you got social media, right? You got networking, right? You got, I don't know, you got books, you got courses, you got a side hustle. You got your e-com. You got, I mean, you hold on, we're not done yet. We got a few more balls in here. We got you got your mastermind. You got your you got parenting. You got your spiritual life. And I mean, you even got more. You know, you got your health. You're juggling all of these things, right? And think about it like this: how much percentage do we all actually have? We have 100% that we can give. But if we're giving 100% to 10 things, that means that we're only giving 10% to 10 things. So 100%, 10 times 10%. So if you're doing like 10 different things with your life, the reason why you're feeling stuck is because you don't even have any bandwidth or the amount of energy necessary to be successful in any of these things. Right? What's up, bro? I see you, man. What's up, Wayman? What's up, Mason? What's up, Alfred? What's up, Resume? What's up, DJ Win? Yeah, this is a live stream. Sorry, y'all got to be here live, man. I'm telling you, this is where the value's at. But what I'm trying to say at this point is that 100% of your efforts can only be given. Yeah, I mean, ET's yelling in the back of my head saying 120, 120. I get it, but you're not whatever. 120 is not coming if you can't get 100 down, because if you're doing 10 things at only 10%. Then how can you add more to your plate? Remember what I said. Your life plus less equals more. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. The greatest way to add value to your life is to subtract from it. So let's just say now, if we really think about it like this, right? Let's say, what's the most important things here to you? Let's just say maybe spiritual is. I would say so. Now, let's say parenting is. I would say so. Now you got to choose. You got to start to choose. You really have to start to look at your life and make a decision and say, you know what? In this season of my life, what's the most important thing to me? What's the most important thing to me? Maybe it's your job, and your job could be your business. A job could be, whatever it is that you're doing to push the needle forward to generate some revenue and not be a fool and take care of your family, right? So what I'm saying to all that is that if you did those three things, right? Let's just say you did those three things. Now, if you did focus just on those three things in this season, that's going to be 3 times 33%. Oh, we're getting somewhere. So now instead of doing 10 things and only giving 10% effort to all these 10 things, we're doing 3 things and giving 33% effort. And with 3 times the energy, you're going to get 3 times the results. And you're literally, I would say you're probably going to get 10x the results because you're going to build momentum. Not like I was saying earlier, now you're a square, you're a circle. Over here, you're a square. That thing ain't rolling anywhere. But now you're able to build some momentum and get that thing going. So hopefully this is adding value. Hopefully somebody's catching this. Somebody put "let's go" in the chat, or somebody drop some rockets in the chat. Drop some rockets in the chat if you can understand what I'm saying, because the only thing that's tough for me about this live stream is that I can't feel the energy. So if you guys are getting any value from this, or it's making any sense, or it's right on time, drop some rockets in the chat. Because let's do this. Lastly, I keep saying lastly. I'll run out of time before we run out of value. I promise you that. So let's do some 5th grade math. So we'll call this 5th grade success math, right? Let's go. Rockets in the chat. Let's go. So here's the thing. Right? And so, you know what? We'll save that for another time. We already kind of went into that. We kind of already went into that. It's pretty basic, right? Whatever you do less of, you actually do more of. Whatever it is that you do less of, you actually do more of, right? So again, success math. You got 10 things, it's going to be 10%. It's just simple, right? 20%, right? 30%. We really, I think this was enough math that we needed to really, really think about it, right? And this is the real equation right here. I would say that this is definitely the real equation that everybody needs to really hone in on, is that your life plus less equals more. The greatest way to add to your life is to subtract from it. So lastly, I will say that when we think about all of these times that we're stuck, it's not because we're not doing enough. It's because we're doing too much. We're doing too much. You have to guard your time because everybody is fighting for it right now. With the way social media is designed and these algorithms, they are fighting for every second of your life. And to be honest with you, if you really want to know where you're going, pay attention to what's leading you. Because what's feeding you is what's leading you. Your news feed is feeding you. That's what's leading you. It's really misleading you. And none of this stuff is real. If it was real, they'd probably spell it R-E-A-L instead of a real, R-E-E-L. None of this stuff is real. Who knows anymore, right? With AI, I mean, anything can be just really manipulated. So what is your screen time on your phone? I want to ask you that right now, because a lot of people are saying they don't have time for things, but in all reality, you have time for something. And if you were to do this one last thing, I promise you it'll change your life. If you were to do this one thing, you know, any client I've ever worked with in the past, whether it was a financial client, whether it was a mindset client, they always wanted to know, where do I start? Well, in order to build anything, you have to have a solid foundation. But before the foundation, you have to go deep. You have to go deep. And this is where the advice that I give them. Take the last 90 days of your bank statements. If I'm gonna tell you now, if you take a look at what you're spending your money on, you'll see what's important to you. The last 90 days of your bank statements. Everybody's like, I want to make more. I want to make more. I want to make more. Well, it's not about making more. It's about making yourself very aware of what you already do, because you need to find out who you are. And how do you find out who you are? You take a look at what you've been doing. If you show me your habits, I'm going to show you your future. But if you take the last 90 days of your statements, your bank statements, go through with a fine-tooth comb and say, you know what? Wow. That's what's going to happen. Whoa. And then you take the next 30 days of your calendar and take a look at your schedule. The next 30 days of your schedule, the last 90 days of your bank statements, and you're going to see exactly who you are, where you are, and where you're going. So if you're feeling stuck right now, this isn't a time to look external. This is a time to look within. The win is looking within. Come on now. The win is looking within. So if you take a look at what you've been doing, the problem is that most people don't want that. They don't believe that's going to help. But see, the problem is that until you actually start doing something different, nothing will ever be different. And you don't lack any access to this new version of you. You don't lack access to peace and happiness and abundance in life. You just lack the awareness that it's already there. You've just labeled these things as if they're not important or they're not going to help you. You've just labeled the people in your circle like they're the greatest assets in your life when they're truly the largest liabilities. Most of y'all are hanging around with liabilities. Most of y'all are hanging around with people that I'd be afraid to ask a question to, because if I heard the answer, it might affect me. I'm sorry, I get really passionate about this because I had to transform my whole life, my whole circle, my whole village, my whole town, my whole world back in 2017, where I had nobody and it was just me and God. And I'm grateful for that. But sometimes you got to hit rock bottom to realize that God is the rock at the bottom. And for me personally, I just don't want to see people waste any more time. Because you could sit here and take all of this information and just sit on it. But this is the perspective pause. This is the moment where everything changes if you just slow down for a minute. Most people will turn this off and just go right back to doing what they're doing. And this was all entertainment and it was a waste of time. That's horrifying to me. It's like, why are you here? We're not here to hang out. We're here to change our life. We're here to take a moment and pause and reflect and say, you know what? Let me see what I've been doing so I can see why I am here. It's not another course for $100,000. It's not another mastermind for $500,000. It's not another program. It's nothing that you need. It's something that you need to let go. And what it is that you need to let go is the thought that you need something else in order for you to grow or to get where you need to go. Listen, you are not stuck because of the things that you don't have. The only reason you're stuck is because the things that you're holding on to that you do have. Shift your focus. You don't need a new life. You need a new lens. So the perspective pause is the moment where we slow down so we can speed up. It's the moment that we say, listen, the ABCs of getting unstuck are action brings clarity. Make one phone call to a prospect today. Post something online to generate some type of traction. Start going to volunteer at a place where people are less fortunate than you. Go ahead and send a text message to 3 people today on how you're grateful for them. Shift the energy, because until you change the energy, you're never going to change your life. Until you change this lens, you're never going to change your life. Like, you're holding on to the things that you've been taught before you even got into a certain situation. And then when you got to the situation, you think that the same person that got to the situation is the same person that's going to overcome it. It's not. It's not. You are not going to overcome this current situation with the same mindset of the person that got you in this. You are only stuck. I would recommend this. And I'm thinking about doing this. I don't know if anybody would be interested in it, but I thought to myself of doing a complete social media fast for 7 days and showing people that life will not end. If anything, it's actually going to begin. Because what you feed yourself is what you're becoming. So I hope that you guys got some value today. We went over letters, numbers, shapes, and squares. Don't be a square, be a circle. They move faster. They build momentum much faster. Please do me a favor and share this video with somebody. I have nothing to sell you here. I have no call to action outside of, hey, if you saw some value, please share this with somebody today so I can see that it is actually important in somebody's life. But every single week, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern time, I will be doing this. This is week number 5 in a row. I have a plan to do this for 5 years, regardless of what happens. I'm celebrating all the milestones, whether it's a cool little intro or whether it's, one more subscriber. Please subscribe to the channel. Yes, I'm going to say that right now. Please subscribe to the channel. I've realized that 40% of the people that have actually been watching this video or any of the live streams are not subscribed to the channel. So please subscribe to the channel, share it with somebody, leave a comment after it's published and let me know what your biggest takeaway was and come back to it if you need to. Listen, this isn't information that I perfected. This is information that I got to continue to focus on being corrected. But I'm going to tell you what, your life isn't going to change if you focus on being the one that is rejecting it. So don't reject this information, because this is what's going to change your life. It isn't something new. It's something you got to let go. It's something that you got to do. You got to take action today. Take one step forward. Don't think about it. I mean, thinking is great as long as you know when to stop doing it. As long as you know when to stop doing it. And give yourself some credit for how far you've come. Focus on how you could be grateful for what it is that God has already done in your life, what you currently do have in your life. Really think about where you want to be and what you want to do in this season of life. Like that illustration about all the balls that you're juggling right now, that's the reason why you're struggling, is because there's too much juggling. Come on now. You got too many balls that you're juggling, and that's why you're struggling. 10% is not enough to accomplish anything. We have to at least get to the 33% so we can start building momentum. So in order to go from stuck to unstoppable, we have to know that action brings clarity. Check your circle. Be yourself. Stop hanging with squares. Learn how to ask the right questions. And then make sure you're asking those right questions to the right people so you get the right answers. And then lastly, know that the greatest way to add value to your life is to subtract from it. Stop carrying all this weight. It's holding you back. A lot of these things in your life are expired. And the reason why our life sometimes is not looking so great is because we're holding on to things way past this expiration date. God bless y'all. I pray to God that y'all got some value from this. Please, like I said, share this with somebody if you did. I look forward to seeing you guys next week on another episode of the Perspective Pause. But until then, know that nothing's going to happen if you don't take action. But first, you got to take ownership. Then you take action, and eventually you're going to take off. God bless y'all. See y'all soon.